Hi there, it's Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder, here with Market Monday, as you guessed, on a Tuesday because I can never seem to get these videos out on time for Monday. The good news is, though, I did get videos out on the Rogue Market channel as well as the Gone Rogue Game channel, so you can go ahead and check those out for more ranty videos based on this topic. And I will have a doozy as well on the Gone Rogue Games channel, complaining more about this topic in more of a raw fashion as I just point and shoot and scream into the camera on that channel. So if you're into that kind of stuff, go check it out at the Gone Rogue Games. You can find it in my channel description. Anyway, so as you can see the title here, WotC continues to spit in your face, and you will enjoy it. Every time I think that Wizards of the Coast cannot go to a new low, they go and pull one of these moves. And I'm apologize for this to be more of a ranty video than more of a, but it is market analysis. Again, if you want more of the raw, me just being angry, go and watch my video over on Gone Rogue Games, because Wizards of the Coast continues to just not respect the market, not respect players, not respect the distributors even, and of course the local game stores are the ones that are taking the absolute brunt of these horrible decisions where Wizards of the Coast wants to have their cake and eat it too by not only releasing products on the distribution levels in those normal chains, but also trying to go direct to consumer. And let me be upfront here, I have no problem with direct to consumer. I actually think it's a very healthy thing for manufacturers to do because it sets a bar, it sets a precedent of what pricing should be, and therefore people that have stores like mine or people that sell can then always reference the manufacturer saying, okay, this is what the manufacturer is selling it for. So if you barely discount it, you look like a pretty good alternative, and then you don't get customers just accusing you of cheating them and being a ripoff and blah blah blah. So we'll get to that in a second and show how other companies that are in this space actually deal with direct to consumer, and then we will talk more about the kind of the straw that is breaking the camel's back, being me, on how much I want to actually support this company, because the writing is just on the wall. The Wizards of the Coast will not slow down with this sort of shenanigans, that they continue to try to undercut distributors, stores. They don't have any respect for your personal collection, even though they marketed this game as a collectible card game, and it is just a warning sign. And it's got me to kind of a crossroads here. Last night I was talking to an old friend that is a whale of a whale in this space, and they rage quit Magic over, I don't know when the last breaking point was, but Magic 30 was one of the big deals, but then just realizing that they're not going to slow down with products, that it's impossible to keep up, and it just became the wall fatigue just became way too real for this particular player. And I'm sad to see these type of players go, because they were the bread and butter of this industry. These kind of hardcore fans that have been with it since the beginning, and where Magic is more of like a cultural lifestyle for them. And it's just, we're in some eerie days when these particular players decide that they are done with the game. And I think the Lorcana also speaks volumes. Yes, Disney is a big IP. Yes, the most common thing I hear about the appeal to Lorcana is they can get their kids or wife to play a collectible card game because they just love collectible card games so much, or trading card games so much, and none have really appealed to their significant others, and Disney is something they can all get behind. So there's that. That's the number one reason I hear people get in Lorcana. But the second thing I hear is just people are so desperate for anything that isn't Wizards of the Coast product, that isn't Magic the Gathering, that isn't just the overwhaling, the FOMOing, the just absolute, just like they keep just ramping it up and just shoving this stuff down our throat with set after set that is upping the previous set. I mean, it's the power creep, the FOMO creep is just unreal with Magic the Gathering at this point. And the market is really, really starting to see signs of a total collapse, and I'll show some data for that in a second. Basically, you name the product, it is very, very scary that we are having sets like Lord of the Rings or All Will Be One that have supposed record sales numbers and still can't keep up with the supply. So demand has never been higher for some of these products, yet they still don't even dent the supply. So Wizards of the Coast doesn't seem to have a strategy that is actually working to try to go back to normal demand numbers, normal supply runners. They keep ramping it out, and it seems to me they don't care because they can just do something like what I have on your screen. So finally getting to the point of here is the Festival in the Box Las Vegas 2023. Now, let me tell you that I actually don't have a problem with these sort of promotional deals if you are attending an event. I think that's fine because Wizards, I understand that. It's like, okay, we can get people in the door with these super discounted stuff, but what would that entail? That would entail people going to an event, getting a plane ticket or a hotel room, all this stuff. So yeah, I can see at that point discounting it to offset the prices of actually attending an event. However, this Festival in the Box is just giving people the option to have this bundle and not even have to attend the event. And so what does it include? It's $250 direct to consumer. WotC Coast is doing this. It's not going through traditional distribution. It's not going through stores. And it contains 24 booster packs that are spread across recent sets. So what this looks like to me is they're just trying to dump out inventory. And the problem is with this, like if you look at these cards, they don't need to be dumping this sort of stuff. This is what's called standard lifestyle or life cycle products. This is something that when they print them should last for the 2-3 years. And so there's no need to dump it until 2-3 years down the road. That they should try to actively encourage these type of products to be selling at MSRP, not printing them into the ground, and not trying to dump them while they are still in that rotation of like the standard lifestyle. So back to this particular product when I want to explain more of it in my other video on the Gone Wrong Games channel, but stores are under a different policy than like the eBays and the non-WPN stores, that if you sign a contract being WPN with Wizards of the Coast, when these particular products are in their standard life cycle or in their print run lifestyle, you are strictly forbidden from buying them from a non-authorized distributor. I wonder if Magic the Gathering also considers this secret layer a no-go for stores to actually even buy directly from Wizards of the Coast to stock their inventory, because you're getting an absolute insane value if you were a store by just actually buying one of these secret layers rather than going through distribution. So it's quite puzzling to me that Wizards has completely thrown that whole policy out the window, or at least not respected it, and continues to just dump product that technically is supposed to be around and last for kind of the health of the standard lifestyle or the print run lifestyle. So I don't know. Wizards of the Coast is just making horrible decision after horrible decision, and it just seems to me like they must be buried in this particular product. It didn't move as quick as they could. But again, I think that they might need to go into the warehousing businesses at this point. If they're going to do these massive print runs, then they need to be able to store it and trickle it into the market so that their strategic partners and players are able to retain value without having their collection or their investments or their the stores, their ability to restock this product at a profitable rate. All that needs to be kind of the buck stops with Wizards to encourage that sort of environment, not just do this sort of pump and dump type thing with these particular products. And what this really seems to me is the big kicker here, how they're going to be able to move product in the future, is they can just take a card like a Mox Opal in this case that has an $80 minimum of a $75 value, and that just ups our guarantees that this product is going to move, because a sealed product alone in this Festival in the Box is actually quite discounted. So if we actually take the cost of all of the products that are in here, so these are all standard set draft boosters, so those are supposed to go for right now the going rate after about fees, we'll just call it a good even, like it's like almost, it's between $90 and $100 is what stores pay for draft boosters from distributors. So depending on distribution fees and processing fees, handling fees, I think the most expensive distributor right now is before fees. They're like $97.97 with the cost of a draft booster. And then if you pay with like a card, or I think they have like this particular strip, it's a $5 minimum on an order, which again, that goes down if you're ordering $1,000. That's 0.5% of the order, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you do pay with like a credit card, which most stores do, then they actually take like a credit card processing fee with that. And so when all is said and done, like my cost of a draft booster is $97. So if you divide $97 by, or you actually only get 24 in here, so it's actually not a full, not quite a full thing. But if you consider these Dominator Remastered and Modern Horizons making up the cost of this, we can kind of put this at this is worth about $100. I would say that at distribution level, if you were to buy this type of product and you at distribution cost, it costs $100. So there's $100 in value that takes it down to $150. The Mystery Booster Convention is going on TCG Player right now. It's on a free fall, of course, with the announcement of this particular product. But I mean, it's selling for 185. So now you're up to 285. With the, I can't remember what the cost of these were, but they weren't cheap. I think they were like 125, if I remember correctly, when they did offer these at distribution to stores. So right there, you're at the 225 from this of what they considered, what they'd sell these for stores. And then you have that Mox Opal, the secret layer drop. And if we actually look at kind of the secret layer drops of the past, let me find the one that has the, yeah, so here's these Dan Frazier ones. So depending on where you put this one in, here's one for 42.85. I don't know what these originally sold for, but typically secret layers, sometimes they actually do accrue value and sometimes they don't. You end up finding them on TCG Player for cheaper than they were from the secret layer. But again, if we go back to like what they typically sell for secret layers, $40 for 5 cards. I think the Dan Frazier ones were more expensive though. I'm trying to see. So foil series here, like a $40 one there. Yeah, I can't remember how much they were going for at that time because I don't really keep up with the secret layers for what they do. But again, that's the secret layers are a whole nother can of worms that Wizards of the Coast needs to reevaluate and see exactly what type of company they want to be, because right now they are absolutely strangling the what is the goose that lays golden eggs. I mean, they're definitely cooking it, but now they're like completely eviscerating and spitting on its grave at this point for how they have no respect for their strategic partners and for the overall ecosystem of the market, the whole market surrounding Magic the Gathering cards. So again, this puts it really high above when you get that Mox Opal to $75 value there. If we look at what Mox Opals are going for, the cheapest one is from Modern Masters 2015. It looks like, yeah, if you get out of lightly played to get in near mint, they're $70. So you can easily add $70. The other ones that we saw, these specialty versions of Secret Layers, we have a borderless one from Double Masters. I'm not surprised to have like 140. And you have the Judge Foil promo. That one's probably a pretty good one to park the value of what an alternate art one is, even though this one was an alternate art, $100 for it. So you can probably between $75 and $100 add the value of that Mox Opal. The other cards in here, like Relentless Rat, the last time it was reprinted was about a $10 value in a secret layer. The Mox Tantalite and Soul Ring probably at least go for $5. You're easily up in the $300 to $400 range of what this is worth. That they are selling at a discounted rate for the $250. And what this does, though, is it sets another precedent. Like, this is what the problem I'm having with Magic the Gathering, with these type of drops, with their Amazon dumps, with all these things, is it makes people rethink their previous purchases, and really, instead of actually buying something, they hold off or they just rage quit. That's the main thing that I'm seeing with customers, is the dissatisfied attitude towards previous purchases is leading to them not purchasing future products, because Wizards of the Coast is just going to blow this out in some sort of deal going forward. So it's very, very scary. Like, I was going to show, you can go back and look at my Rogue Market video that I released yesterday on distributor sales right now, and how none of them are even good deals based upon the expected value that, and we're talking like $60 draft boosters, that even at $60 draft boosters, there are already stores that are dumping them, trying to just recoup capital, and probably these are stores closing, in my opinion. I don't know, like, there's some shenanigans going on right now in the market that has no explanation other than that people are just getting out of this industry and just trying to recoup as much capital before the ship sinks. That is the only, and going back to what I was saying about these era products, is there is no reason why the standard life cycle of products should be being blown out when they're supposed to be lasting for a good 3 years of play. These are supposed to be creating a healthy play environment. And I guess that's my biggest complaint with Wizards of the Coast, is they've lost the plot. They've forgotten what makes Magic magic, where it used to have this healthy ecosystem of these standard tournaments that led to Grand Prix to Pro Tours, to these Pioneer tournaments that led to Grand Prix and Pro Tours. You had this like competitive environment that started at a store local scene and went all the way up to a Pro Tour, and they've lost it. When they went crazy on Commander and they went crazy on capturing the casuals and trying to market this game to the masses, this is what killed that ecosystem where the standard sets could actually do well in their 2-year life cycle, where they didn't have to worry about Magic the Gathering products crashing. Now, in the history of Magic the Gathering, there were some hiccups. Like in 2018, there was some hiccups with overprinting and releasing too much stuff, and we had Amonkhet and Hour Devastation do quite poorly. Ixalan did quite poorly. That entire time period had pretty bad sales with standard sets, particularly. But Modern at least was hot at the time, and there were a lot of alternatives that were still driving the overall market of Magic into a healthy, positive. However, it just seems like everything is going wrong right now with Wizards of the Coast, how they're releasing these products, and they are just your typical meme of the ostrich with their head in the sand, just saying, la la la, nothing's wrong here, everything's fine, we're still making profit, we're still doing good, we're still able to, make insane profits on, $250 with this amount of cardboard. Like at that point, that is that's a microwave. That's how much that costs, and it's got to create this stuff probably costs like nothing for them. I mean, it's probably like $10 probably to print all of this sort of stuff, and then the logistics to get this out the customer, maybe is approaching $30. So I mean, they're making just fistful of dollars on this. But this is the problem that Wizards of the Coast doesn't understand, that other manufacturers do understand, is even though they can make insane profits, that maybe respecting your strategic partner is the better way to go. That's why you don't see Honda or Toyota or Ford or all these car manufacturers selling direct to the consumer at rates that kill their strategic partners. You don't see, even going back to the microwave or the appliance places, same things. You don't see the manufacturers completely eviscerating their strategic partners. And in fact, in the trading card world, you don't see other manufacturers doing what Wizards of the Coast is doing. So let's take a few examples here. We have Dragon Shield. So this is what I love about like Dragon Shield and other companies that do this, is they have their direct to consumer. If you want to go and buy Dragon Shield products, you can go right to dragonshield.com, and then you can come over here and you can buy these were recently released, these Superman core sleeves for $25. You can come right there, add to cart, buy it directly from Dragon Shield, and there you go. If you want to go right to the manufacturer, you can. However, my cost for these Superman was $14. That was $14 for me to get these as a store. They are allowing me as a store, as a strategic partner, to actually make money on their product and not completely kick me in the nuts and undercut me so bad that I can't even sell their product at a profit margin. This is a respectable company that understands the importance of the local game store and that sort of, think of how many sleeves get sold at the local game store level. Like, if anything, like these sort of companies, they really understand the need for them. And this is what's going to make them successful, is I'm sure that they do have quite a few sales on their website that people just come to Dragon Shield and buy it, and they make great profits, and at the same time they don't disrespect their strategic partner, and also they probably have to carry less inventory than they would need to if they did decide to hamstring everyone and undercut everyone. So they're getting better profit margins on the stuff that they sell and advertising that price where all their strategic partners can make a competitive margins and still keep their doors open and still be their sales force and still stock their products. And it's just good for everyone around. Instead of chasing that quick buck like Wizards of the Coast is doing by blowing out products that do not need to be blown out right now. If Wizards overprinted, what they need to do is do some soul searching here and realize that maybe they need to bite the bullet and either destroy product, completely get rid of it, which I think is just a massive waste, or what I think is a better thing is just maybe have to go bite the bullet and go into a little bit of warehousing at the moment to store the stuff until the market can actually absorb it. Because the issue with Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast that they haven't actually understood right now is their greatest competitor is not Pokemon, it is not Flesh and Blood, it is not Lorcana. Their greatest competitor is all of the dead product that is now in existence, that is competing with their future product, which is leading this vicious cycle where they have to one-up themselves every time they release something to make it more appealing than the product that already exists, that's already been quote-unquote paid for and collecting dust right now, because now they want to be able to make that juicy money, and they have to keep doing this FOMO, like this power creep in FOMO is what I like to call it. And it's just is unsustainable. They cannot keep doing this before it inevitably leads to an absolute crash where everyone is so disgusted. Like I said, the stores, the distributors, the players, everyone is just unitedly disgusted right now with these type of stuff with Wizards of the Coast. And it puts us in a weird position because, as you can see in my other video, go watch the rant. I love this game. I want this game to thrive. Magic the Gathering played a very strong role, and I'll get the comments. Well, maybe you shouldn't have taken your passion and turned it into into a business. Okay, nerds. What else? I mean, that's kind of like that's a decision in life to make. You can go do a soul sucking job where you have no passion of it, or you can do things that do at least have some sort of passion. I encourage people to find a good healthy medium with it. And my whole response to that is like, well, this made sense for me. There's very few people in this entire industry that know more about this market or have been so involved with Magic the Gathering than someone like me. So it makes a good fit. But anyway, I digress with what I'm saying there. Let's take a few other examples. So we look at Dragon Shield. Let's look at their biggest competitor. You can go right to the Pokemon Center. You go right to the Pokemon Center, and look at this. They have Paradox, the new set, Paradox Rift Booster Display. I can click right on it right now, and I can add it to the cart. Well, now their site's crashed. There we go. I was going to try to, but you can add it right to their cart and buy it from the Pokemon Center for $161, and I believe you still even have to pay, taxes and shipping. And that way, you can go directly to the consumer, buy it if that's the case, and whatever. At the same point, though, then your local game stores can now use this as a reference and say, hey, we'll sell you a box for $140. You save $20 if off the manufacturer. You support us, and it looks good for everyone. They're allowed to make profits. Now, that's not what's happening in the Pokemon world right now, because Pokemon is going through its own little pains of overprinting, but at least I respect Pokemon more because they themselves are not like causing this. I have some theories about Pokemon. I think there's some really bad shenanigans going on. There's a lot of fraud, and there's a lot of there's some weird stuff because Wizards makes more sense with their pump and dumps on Amazon, and then people can get it so much cheaper than it ends up in the TCU player ecosystem of things just get blown out for absolutely nothing. And we have a lot of stores collapsing with some of this sort of product that they over ordered because they thought they were going to be able to sell more because we were coming off just an insanely hot market where every garbage product actually moved to nothing. And that's kind of the problem with Pokemon too that I think that's happening. But Pokemon seems to have a little more shenanigans going on that they're Pokemon's already been caught in a lot of fraud with like the two sets having some of the chase cards pre-pulled out of the booster pack. So I think that Pokemon is actually having a distribution problem where there's some leaks of product just getting on the market that isn't authorized to get on the market. So that's my theory. I think that there's some fraud going on with Pokemon. But however, I can respect Pokemon a lot more because even though I do feel like they are pushing too much product and they're releasing things too quickly again, and their reprint policies are a little bit skewed at the moment, they are actively trying to do something about it and at least respecting their strategic partners by not actively advertising that we're going to crush you with being able to go direct to consumer for cheaper than you'll ever be able to go for with these little drops and crap. So another competitor like Warhammer, same thing. You can go right on Warhammer site. If you decide to go from them, you can get it at this manufacturer's suggested price. Feel good about the purchase, sure thing. If not, go to your local game store, and your local game store has it for a similar price or discounted price. And that way the manufacturer and the game stores aren't really directly competing that much because it's a feel-good situation for people that shop at their store. Games Workshop gets a better margin on their website, and it's just a win-win situation for everything. Flesh and Blood, same thing. They actually have really started to enforce their manufacturer acceptable price. Board games, I've talked about this in the past. There have been games that like Everdell that used to think they could go the Amazon route to direct-to-consumer, and they've changed their tone. Like, you know what? We should go back to the local game store. In fact, there's a lot of now board games. There was a big, basically a newsletter that was sent out addressing this issue and how that board games need to be back in the game store kind of ecosystem because it is destroying the market with many. What ends up happening is everything gets devalued so bad that no one makes money, including the manufacturers, because their games get less eyes on them, that leads to less sales. And that was kind of the case of Everdell. I've talked about this one in the past in other videos. The Everdell thought they were like almost game of the year, and I think they were like the third top selling game for board games for a specific year, it was like 2019 or something. And they're like, oh, we can actually do this we don't need you low-life game stores and distributors. We can do this without you. And they went directly on Amazon, and their sales tanked. And people playing the game tanked. And then they decided, okay, well, it's probably best to go back to a kind of this ecosystem that did work, because local game stores act as sales forces for games, and they act as places you can actually play the game and demo the game, and they really hype things up, and they changed their tone. And now Everdell is one of the strictest ones with following these really crystal clear print runs, maps, and things of letting everyone know exactly what's out there, how it's going to be distributed, and that way people can have that information and deal with that information in the most adult way possible, and make good decisions in and good business practices. However, Wizz of the Coast, again, they continue to do this. They can continue to pull the rug over their strategic partners, where they actively, I was on the WPN page, and they were trying to get us all to run a spooky draft with Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, and like encouraging everyone to do some drafts at the store. Now, again, if this is the thing, they give out, they can print out promos as a way to get people excited. But even that, at this point, they need to really cut back that, because there is just too many promos out there. There are too many different versions of cards. They have milked that secondary market too much. For a company that doesn't say that there's any value to the secondary market, they really do. Watch the secondary market closely. You can go look at any commander deck. You can go look at any supplemental product like this one. This one, that $250 price was so blatant based upon what they know they could get away with on the secondary market, where they can just undercut everything just enough to make this the most appetizing product out there, and still control the value. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not making sense here, because I'm all over the place with what I'm talking about in this particular video, but it is doom and gloom. There's no way to sugarcoat this at the moment. It's so sad, because if you look at this, so this is Phyrexia All Will Be One and Lord of the Rings 2. These sales were through the roof. These were really well-received products. There was a lot of energy for sets like this. They had some great mechanics. I think that Wizz of the Coast has been knocking it out of the park as far as their design team is concerned. And it is just absolutely heartbreaking that nothing has really come out of this. Like, where's the big celebrations? Where's the big... Like, Wizz of the Coast has one job. One job. Well, okay, they have more than one job, but they have one main job. Their main job is to hype up their product and get people excited about their game. That's the main thing. You can of course, it's a sell. But if you look at Toyota or Honda. What do they do when they release a new product? They do big events. They do big advertising campaigns. They do big things to really get people excited. That's their main focus. Their focus isn't like, hey, let's find out a way that we can screw our strategic partners and dump it on the market after we've lock all these dealerships into buying a bunch of cars, and then pull the rug under them and sell it for cheaper than what they're doing. So anyway, so back to my little rant about Phyrexia. This is a set that was the all-time seller, and for a standard set. And look at these prices. Okay, so this draft booster, under distributor cost. This collector booster, it's right at distributor cost. It's right there. That's exactly how much it costs a store to buy from. And again, you can blame the stores, because there are stores that are probably over-ordered, and there's a lot of shenanigans going on in the market with people working at absolutely no profit margin. And again, the buck really stops on Wizz of the Coast, because as I mentioned with other companies like appliances, like computer parts, like even cars, like I mentioned before, they are really strict on who they do business with. And if they know that they respect the ecosystem of having dealerships and stores be able to make profits, and so they see if there's leaks in their products, that somehow that people are getting like cheaper product of this and blowing it out and stuff like that, they put an end to that. They make sure that their products are going to places that actually has this healthy ecosystem. And that's something I've always just completely beat the drum about, is Wizz of the Coast, that's one of their main things they should be doing, is they had this WPN policy in effect where you need to have table space, you need to be running events, you need to be doing all these things to actually cultivate sales, actually cultivate hype in this collectible card game industry. And that how they reward that is by giving access to selling their products. And they put kind of an end to all these other places that are just trying to just blow it out from their basement. I was watching a video today about this, how a person from their basement was able to turn just Pokemon sales into just millions of dollars because they were able to figure out and secure a way of getting super cheap product under distribution level and then just blowing out to the masses. And again, what that ends up doing for Pokemon, I think Pokemon's still kind of reeling from this, is it just undercuts their ability to actually ever sell for that manufacturer's price. And again, I'm not the biggest, I'm a huge fan of free markets. I'm a huge fan of like letting the market solve stuff. But at the same time, there needs to be ways, especially what I referred to earlier with that WPN contract where I'm not even allowed. I don't even know if I'm allowed. Like, this is what was, I should ask them, am I allowed to even buy these secret layers and break them apart and sell the boosters? Because technically that's against the terms of the WPN of only buying from authorized distribution. So again, that is the problem that we're dealing with, and it's multifaceted at this point, where you're dealing with a manufacturer that doesn't respect its brand or its strategic partners. You're dealing with a market that just has a lot of shenanigans going on with fraud, with unethical business practices, with these little underhand deals that I know that there's leaks in these manufacturers being able, whether it be at the I don't know how bad it is with product that I think is not ending up where it should be and then sold on the secondary market I don't know. At this point, I even think the manufacturers might even be doing it themselves, or distributors might be doing it themselves, because we've always joked that some of these big distributors, some of these like specific names you see on TCG Player that have 50,000 of a certain product are just distributors masquerading as stores. And again, though, the buck does stop with Wizards of the Coast. That is for them to enforce. That is for them to protect their brand, and that's what they should actively doing. Not trying to chase the quick FOMO dollar with these Festival in the Boxes and the Magic 30s and these. Oh, you got to get this one. You got to hurry and order this. And going back to Phyrexia, this is just an absolute. Like, this worries me more than anything, that the best-selling standard set of all time cannot even make a dent in the supply. So Wizards, you're overprinting. There's no way around this. There's no way to sugarcoat this at this point. These are being overprinted. You need to rethink, reevaluate the way you're printing. The reprints, again, I think that I keep wanting to do a video on that. Maybe it's time for another quote-unquote reserve list. And what I mean by that is like a hiatus of actually reprinting cards, where we were looking at in my video last night on like Crimson Vow and Innistrad Midnight Hunt, where a bunch of the chase cards have already been reprinted 1, 2, 3 times already in other products that have come out after Midnight Hunt, and where now, if those wouldn't have been reprinted, then maybe Crimson Vow would look appealing. They'd have more value in it than $50 with the expected value of opening a box. And that way, the supply would start to be outstretched by demand of people just looking at these and be like, okay, now it's a good deal to actually buy this at this price. But, I mean, going back to Phyrexia and Lord of the Rings and a few other ones that were just insanely well received by the market and sold like crazy, and that they are still like not even budge the distributor price on TCG Player, eBay, Amazon, that is just a very worrying sign about just how much this company is just dumping and printing and dumping and printing this sort of stuff. So I don't know. That is, again, I want to stay positive. I want to think that we're going to turn a leaf with Wizards of the Coast, that eventually, on my other video, I talked about maybe it's just time for accelerationism, where everyone should, we should actively all be getting behind of just crashing the market, because then it would force Wizards of the Coast to stop this shenanigans and go back to things that did work. We've seen it happen with other games in the past. I mean, that's the sports card world had to go through it. The comic book world had to go through it. I mean, just the hubris of Magic the Gathering, that they didn't think that they were going to succumb to the exact same policies that led to the Dutch tulip, that led to the comic book crisis, that led to the sports card crash, that they were going to be above this somehow. Or the other theory is, this is just late-stage corporatism where these people don't care, where the Cynthias and the, what was the Microsoft dude, the Chris Coxes, they never planned on sticking with this company long-term anyway. They were just going for the short-term gains, and they're going to just use Wizards of the Coast and these other things as stepping stones to then pad their resumes and get on to other stuff. But, I mean, at that point, again, as the people behind the brand, these are the people that their heads need to be on the chopping block. And as even Rudy stated in one of his little ranty videos lately, that if he was in charge of Wizards of the Coast, he'd axe them all. all their heads have been on the chopping block. And I agree with him. I think that Wizards are the employees that have been designing cards. They've been making a lot of very interesting draft environments. A lot of the products have been good, other than no one communicates with reprints, and the FOMOing crap has been awful. And there are too many versions. There are too many. There is some shenanigans that I think they've dropped the ball. I think Mark Rosewater is someone that his head should be on the chopping block, because he was the self-proclaimed arbiter of Magic. He was supposed to be kind of the protector of the brand. And when you self-impose yourself as the face of the brand, I think that the buck stops with you at that point. And if you didn't stand up for the community, if you didn't stand up for the brand, and you just started shilling the corporate responses about stuff and making excuses for it, you gotta go, Mark. It's been too long. I mean, I respect what Mark Rosewater did for the game. I respect like his vision of pushing the envelope with a lot of stuff. It's led to some great concepts of like especially card design. But dude, we trusted you. We trusted that you would have the community back, the kind of ecosystem of the Magic, the brand, and you failed us, dude. And it's everyone else in that the higher ups there, that they got to go. Magic is just, it's going to collapse. There's no if, buts, ands, ors. There is just too many horrible decisions going on right now at Wizard of the Coast that cannot be sustainable, and it's just leading to crash. If you don't believe me, just look at the secondary market. Prices of cards have all dropped 40, 50, 60, 70%. Talking to Cards for that was one of the things that they were, hoping on going forward with their kind of their business model, is they take a 3% cut with every transaction, because that was supposed to, be able to pay for the infrastructure. And now when you're looking at like the most expensive rare out of Wilds of Eldraine that was just released as $2 or something like that, or just everything has just collapsed in price, then even their transaction fees go, insanely down, and it's hard to operate, comparatively speaking, with the amount of overhead they have to do. I mean, that's across the board with everyone, with this absolute collapse of the sealed market, the singles market. I've got a lot of criticism for my kind of philosophy of older products should age like fine wine. That was the whole appeal to Magic the Gathering, is you knew that if you just were patient and waited, that you're, and again, I'm not the biggest fan of investing in Magic the Gathering, especially if you don't have a lot of, if you don't have a lot of skin in the game, if you're not a store, if you're not someone that, has an outlet to actually sell stuff. Maybe it's not the best investment, but at least for stores, it used to be such a comforting thing, knowing that you could park some money in Magic the Gathering, and that it at least would keep up with or outpace inflation, and you can still sell at a decent profit margin. So incentivized buying the product and just being kind of patient with it, not blowing it out like it's happening on the internet with everything, and being able to make just these nice, stable profit margins for years. Like I said, it aged like fine wine. It didn't sour like spoiled grapes. So anyway, this has been a long, ranty 40-minute video where I've just been kind of repeating myself with a lot of the same old adages. But I'm going to stay the course. Like I said, I think that Magic the Gathering is more than Wizards of the Coast. I want to see this game concede. Again, I don't know the best course of action of how to combat this. I would say do not support Secret Lairs. Do not support Magic events like the convention in Las Vegas for this type of stuff. Support things that are not run like by Wizards of the Coast, like the Magic Summit that's coming up in Salt Lake City. Those are the type of things, your local game store, those type of things. I think when you start throwing your money at things that don't directly go to the FOMOing and the, like I said, the spitting in the face of Wizard of the Coast direction of things, that, vote with your wallet that way. I highly encourage you to still continue to support your local game store, because I think they're important for the overall ecosystem. And I think that games, they play an important role in our culture. That's why I got into Magic the Gathering, because it was a net positive. I always compare it to like online games versus social games like board games and card games, that they are net positive because you're interacting with people, and just the memories and everything I've had at stores. I think they are incredibly important in the scope of things, and I'd like to see them continue and not go the way of the dinosaur. But Magic, unfortunately, has positioned itself as make or break for a lot of stores. Again, maybe that's not the best business model when you're completely anchored to one thing, but I mean, many places are, many stores are that way. It's the same thing if, like, if you're a computer store and Nvidia tanks, for example. I mean, at that point, there's a bunch of your margins gone, and can you keep your lights on? So I feel for all the other local game stores that have, a lot of their kind of make or break in Magic and Pokemon, because times are insanely rough with both of them, and the market just really needs to figure out how to adjust from this. Because yeah, I don't want to see a comic book crash. I don't want to see a sports market crash. And I thought everyone was smarter than going down this road again, but apparently we are slow learners in this day and age, where, you know, we keep making the same mistakes. Same thing with like the real estate market and everything. It's like, geez, that was 2008. That wasn't even that long ago in the scope of things, and we're back down the exact same road as we were before. Anyway, long ass video here. I'm done ranting. We're up to 40 minutes of Kevin just screaming at the clouds. Check out some of the other videos. Again, I'm not going anywhere. I like doing this sort of analysis. And if, you know, Rome burns, I'll be playing my fiddle, but in a good way here, as going down with the ship and having fun while doing so. Thanks for watching.